Happy Friday, everyone. I had something else planned for today's post, and I had one of my clients reach out to me last night because I knew she had been on a trip to Mexico recently, which is a big deal since she has IC. That was her first big trip. And she sent me some feedback last night, and this morning I created a post. So if you saw my stories from earlier, my post that I think I posted it like a half an hour ago, but essentially my client who joined Road to Remission back in June, she figured out her root causes, and she recently went on a trip to Mexico and had the best time. So I wanted to take some time and talk through that with you guys, that process of how she got from point A to point B, which was Mexico. So let's talk about it. And also, hello everyone. I would love to hear where you're tuning in from, and let me know if you have any questions as we go. Okay, so background on this client. So she reached out to me in June of 2023, so maybe like 9 months ago. She was dealing with frequency, urgency, pelvic pain, and pressure. She had tried amitriptyline, she tried hydroxyzine, and some instillations, but as many of you have probably experienced, none of those things had helped her, and she was stuck in this months-long flare-up that she threw everything at it. Everything she knew, had helped her flare-ups in the past, and nothing was helping ease that pain and ease that frequency and urgency. And she wasn't leaving the house. She was saying no to plans. She was literally living her life, and it was being dictated by her bladder. She also wasn't eating a whole lot. She had a very restricted diet. She was afraid to eat. She was losing weight. She had nutrient deficiencies. She had food fear. So, unfortunately, we see a lot of this among our clients and just people in the IC community in general. When you are restricting your diet and following a very strict IC diet, you can risk certain nutrient deficiencies because you're not eating a variety of foods. You can experience weight loss if you're eating less than you were before. And you can develop food fear, which unfortunately is really common and just makes the entire situation so much worse. So that's the state that she was in. She was feeling hopeless, depressed. A lot of you, I'm sure, have felt that way before. I know I have. And it's a really crappy feeling. She also has endometriosis, and she had a history of a hysterectomy. So that's kind of like a side thing that she was dealing with, and she thought maybe it contributed to her IC symptoms, but she really wasn't sure about that. So she joined Road to Remission back in June, and for the first 3 to 4 months, we had her do an elimination diet. And during that elimination diet, it was a bit of a struggle for her because she was experiencing that food fear. But ultimately, we helped support her through that. Ultimately, she figured out that she really wasn't diet sensitive. And I can get a good feel on where my clients are at in terms of their stress levels. I even ask them, on their intake form, like, what would you rate your stress on a scale of 1 to 10? And a lot of them are like 8, 9, or 10 out of 10. And it makes sense because a lot of us are just so confused. We're overwhelmed. We don't know what to do to get relief. And we're living in a state of like paranoia where it's like, is something that you do going to cause a flare-up? Is something you eat going to cause a flare-up? You're kind of like tiptoeing around your life, afraid that something is going to cause a flare. Let me know if you've experienced this before, because I know this is really not popular. This is really common to have those thoughts in your head. And this person, I could tell, was really stressed just with everything. When you're homebound, it's hard. You're seeing everyone in your life going out and doing things and eating things and just doing what you want to do. You can feel a lot of FOMO and isolation and just hopelessness for the future because you're thinking like, is it always going to be like this? It's not. I'll tell you that. So after we determined she wasn't diet sensitive, I said to her, you know what, I really think that your nervous system is playing a role in this. And we had her keep track of her stress levels at various points throughout the day for a solid month or two. And during that time, she realized, okay, there might be something here. We have a nervous system series inside of Road to Remission. It's a 3-part video series taught by a nervous system therapist. And she watched that series and reached out to me and was like, Hallie, I had no idea, like, to what extent my nervous system was playing a role in my symptoms. Like, I fully believe that this is my root cause, or at least my main root cause. And so we talked and we determined that she was going to, learn as much as she possibly could about her nervous system. And she was going to start learning different techniques and practicing different methods of nervous system regulation. And this is going to be different for everyone. It's going to look different because we all prefer different things. We respond differently to things. Like, I'm not really a meditation or yoga type girl. I'm not a journaling type girl, but I like to laugh. I like to watch comedy. I like to use aromatherapy. I like to do some deep breathing in a less formal way. So it really just depends, what works for you. So she did a lot of trial and error over the past 3 to 4 months, and she wanted to do something like with a high level of structure because she's somebody who likes structure. And so she joined Vital Side's Rewire program, which if you have seen, I've talked about this before. I had Lindsay from Vital Side on my podcast. It's essentially a brain retraining program. And I'm doing it and a couple of my clients are doing it. And she's been working on that for a few months now, and she recently, I know she was like planning this trip to go to Mexico, and I hadn't touched base with her in a while. And so I was like, how are you feeling? And she's like, I'm feeling pretty good about going to Mexico. Like, the first trip since all of this happened with my IC. So she was looking forward to it. So she went, and she had an amazing time. She was able to eat and drink anything she wanted. She got drunk, which is huge. She even came home and got wine drunk the other day, which I'm so proud of her for. She was able to do the things she wanted to do in Mexico. She was wearing bikinis. She was just living her best life, and she didn't have any major flare-ups. She really, I honestly believe that if she hadn't figured out that her nervous system was dysregulated and hadn't put in the work to work on regulating it, getting out of that chronic fight or flight cycle, stress response, I don't think she would have had as much success on her Mexico trip. So she really does believe that her nervous system was dysregulated, and that was her main root cause. And then her secondary root cause, she believes her endometriosis does factor into the whole situation. So that's the process of how we helped her investigate her root cause inside of Road to Remission. Every person's journey is different, but I am noticing that the majority of my clients are struggling with their nervous system, and that's why we have such an extensive, education component. That's why we talk about our nervous system on group calls. We were just talking about this last night on our group coaching call, how everybody regulates their nervous system, how they get through anxious moments. If they notice that when they're stressed or anxious, if their pelvic floor is tightening, being more aware of that. Everybody kind of swapped tips and tricks for that. So it's really important to, instead of continuing to treat your symptoms and search for a cure or search for something that will get you short-term relief. Like, I get it. You want short-term relief. Like, I too was desperate many years ago. But you're really going to prolong the amount of time it takes you to get that long-term relief that you're looking for. And you're probably going to end up spending a lot of time, money, and energy on different treatments that don't work. And some of them probably make you worse. At least that was my experience. So the key here is really investigating what is causing your symptoms, investigating your root cause or your underlying cause, whichever term you prefer. And so it is a process, and a lot of people keep asking me, you know, how do I figure out my root cause? And the thing is, it is a complex process. It can be complicated, but you know, it doesn't have to be that hard. You may just need a game plan with some structure. You may just need some support. You may need someone to answer your questions. If that's the case, you know, Road to Remission's always there. But for this reason, since so many people are struggling to figure out their root cause, this is exactly why I wanted to create a resource to help people to do this. And so that's how the IC Root Cause Discovery Workshop was born. I decided it's going to be a 5-day workshop, and each day there's going to be a 60-minute class that takes a deep dive into one specific root cause. And the root causes we're exploring are the most common ones that I'm seeing among my Road to Remission clients. So on Monday, we're going to talk about pelvic floor dysfunction. Tuesday, nervous system dysregulation. Wednesday is overlapping conditions like endometriosis, IBS, vulvodynia. Thursday is going to be diet and lifestyle. And then Friday is going to be hormone imbalances. So you're really going to get a variety of topics that you'll be educated on. Some of them may not be relevant to you at all, but others, you may have that light bulb moment of like, oh, that is me. Like, this sounds like it could be my root cause. I'm going to start focusing on this. I'm going to be more aware of this. And each day you'll have a small assignment to do, kind of like a homework assignment where you can work on building a sustainable habit that you can take with you after that workshop is over. So we're really aiming to dive into specific root causes, how you can figure them out, what you need to know about them, any lifestyle changes that you need to make, and then just getting overall clarity of like next steps and really what to do next. So, you know, take this client as a perfect example of once you figure out your root cause, everything changes. She went from never leaving her house and not eating to going to Mexico, eating, drinking what she wants, wearing a bathing suit, having fun. Just that in itself is a huge win. You don't have to go to Mexico to have fun, but she really had an amazing trip because she figured out her root cause, and she has been working on, you know, regulating her nervous system and really treating that. So that is her story. That is exactly what I'm going to be teaching you next week in the workshop. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them below. But if you're interested in joining us in the workshop, it's going to be hosted in my membership, the IC Collective, which is hosted on Facebook. So we're going to have, each day is going to be a Zoom call. It's going to be 60 minutes. I'm going to teach for the first half, and then the second half, it's going to be open discussion. You'll be able to talk to me, ask me questions, get support in real time. So definitely want to show up live if you're going to come. It is going to be recorded, but I'm going to do something special. So for every class you attend, you get entered into a drawing to win a free coaching call with me. So hopefully that motivates people to show up live, because learning live is always better than learning via recording, because you can ask questions. So yeah, you can join us by clicking the link in my bio. Again, if you have any questions, just drop them in the comments here, or you can reach out through DMs. I'm really excited for this workshop. And, you know, if you're looking for a higher level of support, Road to Remission, again, is always there. But this workshop is it's going to be a one and done thing. So if you're interested in learning more about how to figure out your root cause, this is the place that you want to be. I'm revealing the methods that I use inside of Road to Remission. So if you've always wanted to work with me, but there has been something stopping you, like this is a perfect way to like dip your toe in and learn from me. Yeah, and then the cost of it, that's the only thing I think I wanted to mention. So joining, like I said, it's hosted inside of the IC Collective, and the cost of that is $27 per month. So we require a 3-month commitment in there. So the total comes out to be like $81 if you do a payment plan. If you pay in full, it's $75. And then, you know, if you want to stay in, you can. If after the 3 months you want to leave the IC Collective, you can also do that. So, yeah, and all the details are available on my page. And, yeah. What can you take if you're in a really bad flare? So, right now, I was really just talking about my client story and, like, the root cause workshop that I'm doing next week. But I can quickly answer this. So if you're in a really bad flare, I mean, it really just depends. I have a masterclass actually inside of the IC Collective that talks about flare management. It gives you details on like the different types of flares and ways that you can treat each type of flare. So it really just depends like what caused it. Once you figure that out, then you can treat it with like hydration, stress management, medications, whatever. So let me know. Actually, don't let me know. You can just sign up for the IC Collective in the link in my bio. I also have a blog post that talks about this. If you head to my website, callyknutrition.com, and you go to the blog and type in like flare management, it should pop right up. So yeah, let me know if you guys have any other questions about the workshop. You know, when you join the workshop and the IC Collective, like I just said, like we have master classes that we've previously recorded that get uploaded in there. So we have lots of topics in addition to flare management, like mindset, sex and IC, food additives, dining out, hunter's lesions, identifying your triggers. We have more. I'm just blanking. It's at least a dozen classes. You also get access to food logs, symptom trackers. There's one meal plan on there. So there's lots of resources that you get access to. And then you also are able to join our community on Facebook and participate in a monthly Q&A with me. So lots of added bonuses in addition to joining this workshop. That's why we're hosting it inside of the IC Collective, so you can have all of that. Okay, perfect. So we will wrap it up here. Again, if you have any questions, let me know. If you want to join the workshop, it's the first link in my bio. And I hope you all have an amazing Friday and an amazing weekend.